For as long as humans have told stories, we have told of voyages, quests, and the pursuit of treasures that lie just beyond the reach of ordinary men. In the ancient world of Greece, where gods mingled with mortals and fate was written in the stars, few tales were as powerful, as enduring, and as layered with meaning as the story of Jason and the Golden Fleece. It is a myth of ambition, betrayal, and divine intervention, but also a story that reveals the values of the Greek world: courage, cunning, loyalty, and the inescapable weight of destiny. The Golden Fleece was not just a mythical pelt of a magical ring. To the Greeks, it was a symbol of kingship, of divine favor, of legitimacy itself. And the young hero Jason, whose very birth was shadowed by prophecy and dispossession, was destined to pursue it across the stormy seas, accompanied by a company of the greatest heroes the world had ever known, the Argonauts. Today, let us travel together across time, to that half-real, half-imagined era, and retrace every step of Jason's epic journey. Before we dive into Jason's epic quest, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more legendary tales that blend myth and history. Jason's story begins, as so many Greek tales do, with betrayal and blood. His father Aeson was the rightful king of Iolcus, a city in Thessaly. But Aeson's half-brother Peleus, ambitious and ruthless, seized the throne. Aeson was spared death but was stripped of his power. In the dark halls of the palace, whispers spread that Peleus had consulted the oracle of Delphi, and the words of the priestess struck him with terror. Beware the man who comes to you with one sandal. Fearful of losing his crown, Peleus tried to root out threats, but Aeson's young son Jason was hidden away. Like so many exiled heroes of myth, he was raised in secret, tutored in the arts of war and wisdom by the centaur Chiron, the great teacher of Achilles, Heracles, and countless others. Chiron gave Jason not only strength but also the knowledge of herbs, music, and healing. Jason came of age, strong and handsome. Destiny called him back to Iolcus. On the road, he came to a river swollen with flood. An old woman begged for his help to cross. Jason, noble-hearted, lifted her upon his back and waded through. Yet in midstream, he lost one sandal. Reaching the far shore, the old woman revealed herself. She was none other than the goddess Hera, disguised as Tessie. Jason had won her favor, a blessing that would prove invaluable. But when Jason entered Iolcus with only one sandal, Peleus turned pale. The prophecy had come true. Still, he did not kill Jason outright. He feared the wrath of the gods. Instead, he devised a cunning plan. He demanded Jason undertake an impossible quest. Bring me the Golden Fleece from Colchis, and the throne shall be yours. Thus began the journey. To fetch the fleece, Jason needed a ship, and not just any ship. The greatest shipwright of the age, Argus, was summoned, and under the guidance of Athena herself, they built the Argo, a vessel swift and mighty, her prow carved from the sacred oak of Dodona, which could speak with a voice of prophecy. But a ship is nothing without her crew. Jason called for the bravest men of Greece, and the call was answered by legends. Heracles, the strongest of mortals, Orpheus, whose music could charm even stones, Castor and Pollux, the twin sons of Zeus, Atalanta, the swift-footed huntress, though some versions omit her, Zeus and Calais, winged sons of Boreas, the north wind, Meleager, Theseus, Peleus, Telamon, names that in later centuries would inspire epics of their own. This band of 50 heroes became known as the Argonauts. They swore loyalty to Jason, though each was a hero in his own right, and together they launched the Argo into the sea. The expedition was not merely a voyage. It was a test of Greek unity, a symbol of the heroic age when mortals strove for immortality through deeds. The journey across the Aegean and beyond was fraught with trials that tested courage and cunning alike. The Isle of Lemnos. Their first stop was at Lemnos, an island ruled by women. A curse had driven them to slay their husbands, and they lived in isolation. When the Argonauts arrived, the women welcomed them, desiring companionship and heirs. Jason himself was favored by the queen Hypsipyle. For a time, the heroes lingered, forgetting their quest. Yet Heracles rebuked them. We came not for beds of pleasure, but for the fleece of glory. Shamed, they departed. The Harpies and Phineus. In Thrace they found the blind prophet Phineus, tormented daily by Harpies, monstrous bird women who snatched his food and left him starving. Jason pitied him. The winged Argonauts, Zetes and Calais, gave chase to the Harpies, driving them away. Grateful, Phineus revealed the path forward, but warned of the deadly Symplegades, the clashing rocks. The Symplegades. These were two vast cliffs that smashed together whenever a ship tried to pass, crushing all who dared. Phineus advised them, release a dove first. If it makes it through, row with all their might. They obeyed. The dove flew, using only its tail feathers. Then the Argonauts rowed with furious strength, and as the rocks clashed, the Argo slipped through, her stern crushed slightly, but the path was open forever. Other adventures colored their voyage. Battles with giants, encounters with hostile tribes, and moments where divine aid alone spared them. But at last they reached Colchis, on the distant shore of the Black Sea, where the Golden Fleece was kept. Colchis was a land of wealth and sorcery, ruled by King Eets, son of the sun god Helios. Suspicious of strangers, Eets listened to Jason's request and laughed bitterly. You seek the fleece, then prove yourself worthy. Yoke the fire-breathing bulls of Hephaestus, plow the field of Ares, sow it with dragon's teeth, and defeat the warriors who spring forth. Do this, and the fleece shall be yours. This was a death sentence. No man could hope to master the bulls, let alone survive the earth-born warriors. But fate intervened in the form of Medea, daughter of Eets. Medea was a priestess of Hector, skilled in magic and potions. Struck by love, or perhaps by the will of Hera and Aphrodite, who bent her heart, she resolved to aid Jason. By night she met him in secret, trembling, torn between loyalty to her father and the fire of passion. Take this salve, she whispered. It will shield you from fire and steel for a day. And when the warriors rise, cast a stone among them. In their confusion, they will slay each other. Jason swore gratitude, and some say he pledged his heart to her. The next day, Jason strode into the field. The bulls, monstrous with bronze hooves and fiery breath, charged. But with Medea's charm, he withstood the flames, seized them by the horns, and yoked them. The ground shook as he plowed the field. Then he scattered the dragon's teeth. And armed men sprang from the soil, fierce and menacing. Jason remembered Medea's counsel. He hurled a stone. The warriors turned upon each other in fury, and soon all lay dead. Yet Eets still denied him the fleece, plotting treachery. It was Medea again who saved him. She led Jason to the sacred grove where the fleece hung upon an oak, guarded by an ever-living serpent. With her spell, she lulled the serpent to sleep, or in some tales, Jason slew it himself. There, gleaming like fire in moonlight, hung the Golden Fleece, a symbol of divine kinship, radiant, impossible, now within his grasp. Jason seized it, and with Medea by his side, fled to the Argo. But Eets would not let them go. He sent his fleet in pursuit. Medea, desperate, made a dreadful choice. She took her own brother Alcetus, who had joined them, and slew him, scattering his limbs into the sea. Horrified, the pursuers stopped to gather the remains, and so the Argonauts escaped. This act haunted Medea and Jason alike, but it ensured their survival. Their return journey was long and twisted. Some say they sailed north into the rivers of Europe, others that they circled Africa. Everywhere they faced trials, storms sent by Zeus, sirens whose songs were silenced only by Orpheus, lyre, and even the wrath of Talos, the bronze giant of Crete, whom Medea destroyed with her sorcery. At last they reached Iolcus. Jason bore the fleece before Peleus, but the usurper still refused him the throne. Once again, Medea's cunning turned the tide. She tricked Peleus' daughters into killing their father, promising to restore his youth by boiling him in a cauldron. They believed her and struck him down, but Medea withheld the spell. Thus Peleus perished. Though Jason had won the fleece, his life was not crowned with happiness. He and Medea fled to Corinth, where their marriage soured. Jason, ever ambitious, sought to wed the daughter of King Priam. Betrayed, Medea enacted a vengeance that has chilled hearts for centuries. She slew the princess with a poisoned robe, and in a final, terrible act, killed her own children, denying Jason his legacy. Thus the tale, which began with the promise of kinship and glory, ended in ashes. Jason, bereft, grew old and bitter. Some say he died alone, crushed beneath a rotting beam in Argo, a pitiful end for one who sought immortality and fame. Yet the story of Jason and the Golden Fleece endures, not for the man Jason became, but for what the quest symbolized. To the Greeks, it was the first great sea expedition, a mythic memory of their ventures into the unknown Black Sea. The Argonauts represented the best of Greece, warriors, musicians, thinkers, united for a common cause. The Golden Fleece itself may echo historical realities. Perhaps it referred to techniques of gold panning with fleeces in the rivers of Colchis, where sheepskins were used to trap gold dust. Or perhaps it was simply a radiant metaphor, a prize so great that men would risk all to seize it. Jason's tale is thus full of history and myth, a reflection of the seafaring spirit of Greece, the dangers of ambition, the power of love, and the cost of betrayal. It reminds us that quests are not only about treasures won, but about the transformations and tragedies that come with them. So we leave Jason, standing forever at the edge of glory and ruin. His name is remembered not for ruling a kingdom, but for daring the impossible, for sailing where no Greek had sailed before. And the Golden Fleece, though only a fragment of myth, still gleams in the imagination, a reminder that humanity has always yearned for something more, a symbol of our endless hunger to prove ourselves against the odds. If you enjoyed this journey through Jason's quest for the Golden Fleece, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more stories where mythology meets history.